You're listening to Podketeers.
Welcome to episode 439 of Podketeers. This week we talk about Ryan Reynolds wanting a certain pop star in Deadpool 3, are animated films getting less marketing, new concept art is released for the Adventureland treehouse, It's a Small World gets a couple of new additions, and Encanto at the Hollywood Bowl. We'd love for you to join the conversation on our social networks, including Instagram and Facebook, but we invite you to join us on our Discord server. Joining the community is super simple. Just head over to podketeers.com/links and click on the Discord button to join the community. A very special thank you goes out to an awesome group of people known as the FGP Squad, our podcast Fairy Godparents, because it's their support via Patreon that help make these episodes of Podketeers possible. As part of the FGP Squad family, you get some additional perks like exclusive discount codes for Podketeers gear, additional content like the Podketeers after show, and access to our happy hour calls, just to name a few. For more information on how you can become part of the FGP Squad family, we invite you to check out podketeers.com/FGP. And as always, a super special thank you goes out to the FGP Squad for their continued support. Before we start the episode, I want to take a moment to apologize because it's been a little difficult for me to post the auctions we intended to have to raise money for Walk for Hope. As of today, Walk for Hope has already happened, but fundraising usually continues for a couple of weeks after. We still raised just under $500 of our $1,000 goal, but I wanted to reach out to all of you to see if there was still any interest in us still having the auctions, or if we should just leave them for next year's event. We would love your help in trying to figure this out. You can either leave a comment on the IG post for this episode, or we invite you to join us on Discord. If there's enough interest, we would love to still have them and try to get as close as possible to that $1,000 goal that we had. So we look forward to hearing from you, and we appreciate your feedback. So that's it. It is time to get this episode rolling. If this is your first time hanging out with us, welcome. We hope that you enjoy the episode and that you come back for more. And of course, if you've been hanging with us for a while, welcome back, friends. Here is episode 439 of Podketeers.
So I'm here to tell you, brothers, that, we're the cream of the crop, and it's gonna be the top of, I don't know.
I'm not exactly sure if I want to continue.
That hurt my throat.
I'm not exactly sure if I want to continue and start breaking out little creamers and like the cream of the crop. You see, Mean Gene, no matter what, the cream of the crop rises, you see.
Yeah.
Pull out a little creamer, hand that over to you. It's the cream of the crop.
And then you throw it, and you keep pulling little creamers out.
Because it doesn't matter if it's the cream of the crop. Now my throat hurts more.
Yeah, I started coughing. If you don't know what we're talking about, just look up Macho Man Creamer on YouTube. You'll find it. Pretty easy to find.
Old school
and very funny.
Randy Macho Man Savage. Pretty sure he's talking to Mean Gene Okerlund at that point. And
yes, I just looked it up, and that's he's talking about Mean Gene. He's actually talking just like an interview guy, but about it. WrestleMania 3.
Ooh, that was a long time ago.
Ooh, yeah,
a long time ago. But it's the cream of the crop. I have a feeling that's going to be a theme during this episode now.
You know what? Why not? We've done themed episodes before. You know, there's a Haunted Mansion episode, Pirates of the Caribbean. Why not a Cream of the Crop episode?
Cream of the Crop. Are we just going to talk like wrestlers the rest of the show?
Yeah, brother, okay. I don't know. Hulk Hogan says stuff. That's the only other guy I know. He says brother.
All right, Mel. Roll your eyes back and tell everyone to rest in peace. Go for it.
Right. Hold on. Let me get my eyes. I'm trying to open my eyes a bit.
I don't know who that is.
That's the
that the
Undertaker. Yeah.
Okay, I don't watch wrestling.
Oh
I
my
just
gosh.
know about wrestling. Or you could be the people's champ, Melissa.
Oh, wait. Eyebrow. I gotta raise it. Hold on.
She's raising the eyebrow with the
I'm trying to
finger.
raise
You need a
With my
piece of
fingers.
tape to hold it up instead of your finger.
That would work. I'll just draw it on top.
Anyway, that was the start to this episode, wasn't it? I like to get us off topic.
And it was a mighty fine opening. Why? Because it's the cream of the crop. Oh, yeah.
Cream of the
Cream of the crop. A little coffee with the creamer because the cream goes to the top. Oh, yeah. Little pumpkin spice. No, nobody likes pumpkin spice. PSL for you. Nobody likes that. Do you like pumpkin spice? Leave a comment. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, caramel macchiato.
Frappuccino style.
I was gonna say. I don't really like coffee, but I get a frappuccino.
Today on Macho Man Says, we're going to go through the Starbucks menu. Oh, yeah. White
What's that?
chocolate. What's one of those things? White chocolate mocha coffee.
Mocha.
White
thing.
gummy bear.
My throat already hurts from doing this.
6 pumps of caramel. I don't know. I lost the Macho Man. It's just going into just Gargle Man.
Can I get a
Ooh,
Pike
yeah.
Venti? Blonde roast
What else is what do
Venti.
they have in Starbucks?
Ariana Grande.
Ooh, mocha chip frappuccino. I don't know.
Give me
I
one
don't-
of them
I don't know.
Christmas ones.
Ooh, can I get a chocolate croissant, but heat it up in the oven a little bit? Ooh, yeah. We got to put some cream on the top. There we go. Tie it all together.
All right. Well, so that, like you said, that was the opening and
Oh, yeah.
scene. Hey, so last week we were talking about Taylor Swift and it's a me, Mario, because he's the problem. It's him, right? But apparently,
Yep.
my good buddy Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Reynolds, the guy doing Deadpool. Recently,
Right.
Mhm.
we showed him talking to Hugh Jackman about
Hugh
coming back
Jackman.
as Wolverine for Deadpool 3. Remember? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the news is, the rumor really, there's nothing confirmed, but the rumor is that Ryan Reynolds wants to somehow drag Taylor Swift into this whole thing. And I co-sign on this 284%.
It's a very specific amount of percent.
Well, I want people to understand that I'm pretty clear on the fact that I am all for Taylor Swift to be a part of this film.
Mm-hmm.
Was it not clear? Because I can raise my percentage. I just want to say that I am 498.284% on board with Taylor Swift being a part of Deadpool 3.
Gotcha. So
Pretty
do you
decent.
do you have a preferred role that this Swiftie may play in Deadpool? I don't know any like Deadpool side characters. I only saw one of the Deadpool movies. I don't even remember which one it was.
I do not. But what I think should happen is that she should just play herself at a concert. And it's very much one of those, like, try everything moments, like, from Zootopia, but now in Deadpool, right? Where, like, Wade goes to a concert because Wade is also, like, full-blown Swiftie.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
I
would
could see
make
that.
absolute sense. Like, he's wearing the T-shirt, like, he's, like, swooning over her at the concert, like, interacting with other people on TikTok, doing dances to her music. I think it can work.
And then he goes to the concert and he gets up on stage and then it turns out she's a bad guy and has a big sword and then they have to fight.
Okay.
Wow, that escalated.
Listen, we're writing this film. Ryan,
We are.
listen.
Swords are fun. Like,
Yeah.
why not a sword?
Ryan, if you're listening, just shoot me a text. Let me know if you want to use this idea. I know you guys are still working on Deadpool 3, but I think we can give you some really golden moments for this film. really bring you into Phase 5 with an oomph. You bet the cream of the crop,
you know what?
brother.
Cream of the crop.
You rise to the top against Taylor Swift.
Maybe Taylor Swift plays Macho Man.
Listen,
wow,
now you're
be,
just...
That would be epic.
It would be weird. Let's not. Let's not. It might be epic, but
that's a
super
bad
weird.
idea.
Let's not.
They say no bad ideas, but that might be a bad idea.
I like to keep my Taylor Swifts and my Macho Man separate, thanks.
Gotcha. Two separate bowls.
Two separate bowls, exactly. Macho Man can sit
one bowl for cream,
which rises to the top.
Yeah, and then I don't know. Is there a food-related thing that Taylor Swift did? I don't know. And a bowl for.
She's sweet. She's candy. I
don't know. All right, bad analogy.
So yeah, that's a thing. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but Ryan Reynolds has expressed some interest in Taylor Swift joining the Deadpool 3 cast. If we were going to put a percentage, like I know I joked around about it, like what percentage I would want this to happen. If you could take a wild guess and just say percentage-wise, if you think it will happen, where would you slot this?
You know what? I'm going to say 80%.
Oh, that's pretty high.
Because the reason I say that is because Ryan has a way of making things happen. For instance, Wolverine. So, hey, if you could get him to come back, who's to say he can't get Taylor Swift?
Yeah,
and I think the concert thing would be fun.
Yeah, she's been in movies. She was in Cats, everybody's
it
favorite
could be
movie.
We don't talk about cats.
I haven't
we
even
don't
seen
talk
it yet.
about cats.
Stay away.
I've worked on the show, and I've seen the Broadway show, but I've not seen the movie.
Yeah, we don't talk about cats.
Yeah.
No.
We talk more about Bruno than we talk about cats.
Yeah.
Hey, they had one of those Cats in the Rescue Rangers movie. There you go. That's how we can talk about cats. Anyway, you know what, Melissa? Before you said 80%, I was also thinking 80%. So that's kind of, I'm in the same boat. I think
I feel great.
if he wants it, like he can probably make it happen. Even if it's a cameo, if it's a quick thing, like, walking down the street and there's Taylor Swift. He bumps into Taylor Swift and it's like something blah blah blah. One day on set kind of interaction. But I think it could be a good possibility it happening if they want it to. He said in the interview, he said, "I would do anything for that woman," is the quote that he said.
Hey, I know how he feels.
Who knows?
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see if it happens. I mean, I think you both fall in a slightly higher percentage than I do. Like I'm closer to like 50, maybe 60%. It does happen. I'm just being realistic. She's with the release of Midnights, she's going on tour soon, and not that she can't, have a cameo or something like that. But I know that we just talked about her, playing a whole, role in it, and it's a bigger scene. But if it happens, I feel like it would be more of a just quick cameo, like he runs into her on the street or something. He's like, "Oh my God, you're Taylor Swift," and she's like, "No, I'm like." When she mentions like another name, he's like, "No, but you really look like Taylor Swift." It's like, yeah, I get that a lot, Or they recreate like lyrics or something from one of her albums or something, like he's at a diner.
And then she pulls out a big sword and they fight.
Not yet. That's after the scene. Like they'll be like he'll be at a diner eating, and then like Taylor Swift will serve him his food, and then he'll say something like, "Wow, you really look like an American singer," which is a lyric from one of her songs. And then she's like, "Nah, I get that a lot." And then she pulls out a sword, and then they start fighting.
I see.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because then the jig is up, right? Like now they know that that's her. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm. Would I like it to be higher? Absolutely. Like, would I like her to have a bigger role and to play a bigger role? Yeah, heck yeah, I would. But, I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens.
That's all we can do is wait.
Right?
Wait and see.
Right?
We got a couple years till this is coming out, so
Yeah.
who knows?
Hey, speaking of a couple of years of coming out, I want to start kind of movie theme here since we're kind of leaning into the movies. But Strange World. Strange World has been talked about by Disney for some time now, and I feel like for a while we got some, posters, we got some commercials, we got some trailers. There was even a little bit about it at the D23 Expo, but I feel like I don't want to say that it's necessarily getting swept under the rug, but I feel like it's getting very similar treatment to some of the other films that we saw released a couple of years back, like Soul and Onward and stuff like that, where they got released to very little fanfare, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, with Bob Chapek recently coming out and making a statement along the lines of, cartoons are for children, they're not for adults. I mean, animation in any regard is kind of the bread and butter of the Disney company, right? It's in their roots.
Yeah.
And so for him to say that feels like, I mean, I hate to say it, but it sounds like a big slap in the face to the legacy of the company, right? And so when I see a film like Strange World on the slate to be released, and then, like, you don't hear anything about it. Like, it releases the weekend, or, like, Thanksgiving weekend or something like that. Thanksgiving week, maybe.
The 23rd.
The 23rd, okay. So it releases the 23rd of November. Oh, the day right before
Next
Thanksgiving.
Podketeers Wednesday.
Yeah.
Not this one, the following one.
But what have we heard about it?
Jake Gyllenhaal's in it, and that's about it.
Here's the funny part. So I got to go to the theaters recently, and I actually saw a trailer for a movie. It's not a Disney movie, but it's coming out next week. So I don't understand why they didn't even put a trailer for this or something to kind of show, like, hey, this is coming out. We did talk about this, and it's kind of sad that they just dropped it and they didn't really promote it as much, because it's a sci-fi adventure. I mean, action adventure, but it looks pretty cool. It's going to make me sad if it's one of these films that we should have seen in the theaters, or it should have gotten some more love. And that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Because animation, I mean, like you said, it is the bread and butter of the company, and it's an art, and it should be expressed on the screen. It should be given love, and it stinks. It really does.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if, like, they're trying to boost their Disney Plus numbers by downplaying, it didn't do well in theaters, but we put it on Disney Plus, and it's the most watched movie that they're ever watched. They said watched 10 billion hours of Strange World on Disney Plus, or something. I don't know, but this whole streaming, 2 weeks after or whatever, doesn't really make sense to me. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to not promote the movie. Like, why wouldn't you want to make a bunch of money in the theater and then put it on Disney Plus and make your money, whatever, from ads or however they make money on streaming besides your monthly thing?
Yeah.
Do it then, because it's coming out. I'm on the online looking at the films coming out at the same time. So there are 7 films. Jeez, 7 films opening the same day as Strange World. A movie called The Fabelmans, Bones and All, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, Devotion, Strange World, Nanny, and All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. So, a couple of these are, Knives Out, mystery, thriller kind of movie. A couple of these look like dramas. I don't know. One looks like a a war fighter pilot movie, maybe. So it's like it's the only family movie coming out that week for Thanksgiving. So I don't know if they're relying just on people that are going to the movies and want a family movie. This is the only thing out there for them. I don't know, because I'm not sure what else is in the theater right now. I mean, there's Black Panther, of course, that just came out. But other than that, I don't think there's a bunch of family movies. So this is kind of the only one. So it's very confusing as to what they're doing marketing-wise. It kind of reminds me of the... like when John Carter came out, they're like they kind of under-marketed it, and then they're like, nobody liked the movie. It's like, well, nobody understood what it was about, so they just didn't go and see it.
Yeah.
Also, I find it bizarre that I don't know if this is how all Disney films are, animation films are, but every other movie that's coming out that day has a Rotten Tomatoes critic score already, and Strange World has none. It's just not been, like, the critics haven't been screened the movie yet or whatever. So it's interesting to just see all these different, just with a list of other films, how this is stacking up. So yeah, it's like you guys are saying, it doesn't make much sense what is going on here.
Yeah, you mentioned something interesting earlier as well. You know, that they could put it on Disney Plus and they could talk about their earnings and how much they made and how many people watched it and all that stuff. The bad thing is that Disney won't ever fully reveal those numbers, right? They're very secretive, like all the other services. Netflix is the same, and other services won't ever tell you exact numbers because they can pad them however they want for investors and to make it look much better, you know, during earnings calls and stuff. The funny thing is that probably within the last week or two, they had their earnings call where they were talking about how the theme park revenue was up 70%, you know, because they've raised so many prices on everything and they're doing amazing in the parks. But Disney Plus did not meet their expectations, and they're no longer on track to meet the, I want to say it was like 245 million that they were expecting to have by the end of 2024. And so they ended up lowering their target closer to 200 million because, you know, they just don't understand what's happening. And this is all happening kind of around the time where they don't have as much content being released as people would want. They don't have the content people have been asking for. Like, they're releasing some pretty good stuff. And pretty good stuff, obviously, is subjective to who's watching it, because there's going to be some people that just don't like it. You know, Marvel stuff gets released, and I've talked about this before. Like, I'm hook, line, and sinker for a lot of that stuff, right? But when you think about all of the old shows that people want to see, we've talked about, like, House of Mouse and the Villains show and old Mickey Mouse Clubs and, like, all these shows that they have, and, like, even Wonderful World of Disney. Now that people are terming out of their D23 Founders Packs or their Founders Prices, why not release all of that to keep more people? You know, has there not been a plan for that? And it seems so odd that Bob Chapek has spoken over and over and over about how he wants to make Disney Plus this, like, central hub experience for people, where there's more of a blend between what you watch and the parks and the content and the experiences. But it doesn't seem to be meshing together at all. And so, like, we're in a place now where Disney Plus is about to have its prices raised. I think the ad-free one is going up to about $11. The Hulu pack, or the ESPN Hulu Disney Plus pack that they have, I think is going up to... The bundle. Yeah, the bundle's going up to $20 or something. And then the ad-free one obviously is going to be like $7 or $8 or something like that. I forgot what the pricing is. This would have been a prime time for them to do this, especially as they're introducing the ad bundle, right? Because most people that got a chance to see these shows had an opportunity to see them when they were on Disney Channel, when they were on ABC, and you saw them with commercials. So it isn't anything foreign. You know, they're just commercials that they just come at different times than they would. Like you see a couple of ads before the show versus every 7 to 8 minutes of the show or whatever the case is, right? So the whole thing is weird. A Strange World feeling like it's getting swept under the rug, I guess, gives them the opportunity to say that, oh, well, we released it, people didn't see it, you know, it was kind of a failure, but it's not our fault. But it kind of is, right? Because we saw this with the other films, like with the Pixar films and stuff. So it's weird that they haven't said anything about it. Obviously, there is a big push for live action stuff, like we're saying. And I think it also might have to do with the fact that Kevin Feige might have a lot more say in the Marvel stuff, you know, because he's kind of the machine that runs all of that. Like, so, you know, promoting Deadpool, coming up with these clips with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and stuff like that, promoting movies in advance. This is what Marvel does, right? And then obviously Black Panther, Wakanda Forever was released over the weekend. You know, it's now in its fifth day or something like that of showing.
Fourth day.
Well,
as of recording, as of release, this will be the 6th day, I think.
Okay. I was reading an article where, as of Sunday the 13th, it had already made $180 million in North America, and it had made an additional $150 million overseas. But the marketing machine behind Wakanda Forever, like you saw it everywhere, right? Even to
there was that Wakanda week or whatever it was leading up to it on like ABC and all this stuff, like a whole thing. And now are they trying to not trample on the toes of, you know, Black Panther by not advertising until like the week of or whatever, so giving that like 2 weeks? I don't know. Are we going to start seeing a ton more Strange World stuff in the coming weeks now that Black Panther's out? Who knows? That's another interesting thing to try and not conflict with their other properties. I don't know. I'm just pulling the strings here. Like,
it's just strange because usually you would see the merchandise before it drops. And there's nothing. Like, there's no plushes, there's no nothing to say, hey, this is part of the film that's coming up. Nothing. So it is weird of them to go this far and just drop it.
You know, it's funny that the film itself, when I first saw what little we've seen of it, it has like a Treasure Planet Atlantis sort of vibe to it. And then when you think back on those films and how those films weren't marketed as much and they weren't treated as these big blockbuster films either, it just, I don't want to say that that genre is cursed, because I feel like there's other films that have done really well in that genre, but like animation wise, it's just so confusing. I don't understand what's happening. If their concern is that the film wasn't going to do well during the Thanksgiving weekend, then why not push it to an early December release? You know, maybe is it because it's not Christmas? Is it because it doesn't have a Christmas theme to it? But I don't know. It just, usually Thanksgiving weekend, like you said, it's a great time for families to watch films together. The first week or two of December is also a really good time to push out those films. And when you listed the other ones that are being released at the same time or alongside Strange World, it seems so funny that there aren't any other family movies being released.
Not a one.
I hope you're right, Mel. Or I hope you're right, Andrew. Who said it? that now that Wakanda Forever's out, that
Oh, that was me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That was Andrew.
So, yeah. So I hope you're right that now that Wakanda Forever's out, that they'll push it a little bit more. Sadly, I don't have the confidence that they're going to do that. I just feel like this is going to turn into just another film that, in their eyes didn't do well. If you don't break the $1 billion mark or whatever, like, you failed. When in reality, when you think of how much is spent on a film, it's not a failure. Movies have been struggling since the pandemic started to, since theaters started to open up after the pandemic. Black Panther, I think, is one of the first films to make that type of money. For the animated films, it's just weird. We'll see where it takes it, but do we know how much they spent on Strange World to make it?
Probably not, but we can find out from Google, maybe. Budget estimated $120 million.
Okay. So
I think that's most of the CGI Disney movies are the estimates are around that price. Some say up as high as $186 million.
Okay.
Maybe, or I'm reading this wrong, but $120 million looks like to be the rough estimate.
What's Encanto at? Encanto's over 250 at this point, right?
Budget, or you mean earning?
Earnings.
And let's see. I have all these things up, so I can do it really quick. All-time performance, worldwide 256 million.
256. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not going to make 256 money, especially without really being promoted at all. Jake Gyllenhaal brings in some star power, but
but not much.
But
Jake
not
Gyllenhaal.
much, right?
No,
and it's not like Lin-Manuel Miranda bringing in, a lot of the notoriety that he had from Hamilton and In the Heights and everything coming into that film. So, yeah, I think if the film, I think at this point, if the film breaks even, I think Disney will be happy with it. They won't, but they're going to consider it. They're still going to consider it a failure.
Here's the thing, though. We don't have a gauge on, for the three of us anyway, is what is going on overseas marketing wise. There's some movies that will just be like, all right, over here it made $5, and over there it made $2 billion, like the rest of the world. So that could be a thing too, but a lot of the times they only really care about the domestic numbers for some reason, even though they release these movies worldwide.
Right.
So that could be a thing too. There's been a few movies that really are like Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton ones. That was a movie that I'm pretty sure, made good money here in the States, but it was just gangbusters overseas. And so they're like, well, we're doing another one of these. And the second one didn't do as good of numbers here, but overseas it was, again, a better numbers. I hope I'm getting this movie right, but I know there's a few.
Yeah, well, there were films that weren't even released in China, and China's a really big market for films. Encanto didn't get released immediately. It just got released this year, I think, in China.
Yeah.
And Bob Chapek,
Alice Through the Looking,
he had gone on the record addressing difficulties that they had with releasing films in China. I mean, I'm sorry, I cut you off when you were reading the Alice part, but
No, it's okay. It's Alice Through the Looking Glass domestically made $77 million, and then overseas made $222 million. That's a lot of markets, but it's 3 times as much overseas that it did here. So it's just interesting to see some of these numbers on a budget that was $170 million. So it only made worldwide $130 million more than its budget. And some people see that as a flop. It's really like when they when they call it a flop, it's more of a flop for their investors, I guess, because they see that the $1 billion movies, and all people care about is making $1 billion movies now, which is kind of like annoying, I guess, because why not, why not make a movie for $50 million and have it make $150 million? You've tripled your money there, but no, that's a small fry. That's not, $1 billion or $2 billion or whatever, Avatar or Alice in Wonderland or, Star Wars did. But there's only so much that people can stand when it comes to just everything is an in your face, like blockbuster. Everything ends where it could have a sequel or become a whole series or franchises, I should say. Sometimes a movie could just be a movie, and then you watch the movie and it has a good ending and then it's over. Right. Sometimes that could be a thing that happens.
Or it flops and then it ends up being a cult hit.
Exactly. Yeah. But now we're getting like Frozen 3 because, whatever.
Yeah.
And so anyway, all that to say, we have to see what's going to happen with this movie. I'm excited to see it. It looks fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different style.
It's different.
Yeah. And Heyzen brought up the, Atlantis and Treasure Planet. And I like those movies. Those are good movies to compare it to. Like that, like you're saying, they, fell into a similar thing of no confidence from the company behind it. They kind of gave up on them, and they're good movies. Like, they have come into their own after as time has passed. Yeah. So, I guess that's what you can hope for this movie. I mean, you can hope that it does well because if it's a good movie, it should do well. People go see a movie if it's good. But at this point, we got a week and a half to wait and see what happens.
Yeah. I'd probably have to go back and look at the releases and how they were treated, especially in the last 2.5 years and after the launch of Disney Plus. But off the top of my head, it feels like the movies, you mentioned a little bit about this, the franchises and all of that. It feels like the movies that are being pushed really hard are a sequel to something or part of a franchise. And anything that's an original idea, the way that Soul was, the way that Onward was, the way that Strange World is, these are all original ideas that are not part of some other universe or, a sequel to anything. They're getting kind of pushed under the rug. They're releasing because they have to release them, I guess. It's on their schedule. But anything that's not a sequel or part of some major franchise is just not being pushed right now.
100%. That's not just Disney. That's across the board, across all companies. It's really like, an issue, in my opinion, that we're kind of stuck in sequel land right now, or franchise land. Everybody's got to turn everything old is new again, or whatever. That if it's got a name recognition at some level, even if it's a 1% name recognition, that's better to some of these people than the marketing people than it is just to have a new idea. It's like, well, we got to revive Car 54, Where Are You? Because that has name recognition as opposed to starting another cop show or whatever Car 54 Where Are You is. I know the name Car 54 Where Are You, but I don't know what the show's about. I think it's a cop show. But that's just one example of like, all right, on TV we have The Real Love Boat because we got to do a reality show and it has nothing to do with the Love Boat other than it's the name. And they're on a boat and it's like The Bachelor or something. I don't know. But that's kind of the rut the industry at large seems to be in at the moment is just making money off of the name alone, recognition, without making a good product, I guess. Like, they're like, well, yeah, it's a name. Let's do something with it, I guess.
It's the era of reboots.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, there are exceptions, right? Because, I mean, I don't know if you've had the opportunity to watch Wakanda Forever, but it's good, man.
Well, I
Yeah.
haven't seen it, but I mean, you can make a good movie based on a franchise, and Marvel has proven time and again that they can do this because the people behind them seem to care about the projects that they're doing.
Right.
But some of these companies, and Disney, included, seem to just be trying to crank out whatever thing that can make them a few bucks. Now, do I think Stranger Things?
Yes, Stranger
Strange
Things is
World.
fantastic.
Do I think Strange World is that? No. I think the people that are creating Strange World have a vision and an idea that they care about and put their heart and their, willpower and everything into it, and then are not getting confidence from the company. So, like we said before, who knows if marketing is going to get pushed up soon. I mean, I did see something on Instagram, and they're like, hey, this is Jake Gyllenhaal, blah, 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 blah. And then that was it. For like 3
how long
days.
was that?
How long ago, or how
Yeah.
long was the video?
Sorry, how long ago was that?
Oh, it was probably like, must have been this weekend. Or, yeah, it's probably this weekend sometime.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
there was like a Instagram reel or story or something where it was Jake Gyllenhaal like, hey, man, Strange World, da-da-da-da-da-da. So there was something. I mean, it wasn't like every day, but there was a Instagram thing at least.
Maybe you're right then.
So-
Maybe they were waiting for Wakanda Forever to get released so that they could push this one. But, I mean, 2 weeks to build up hype for a film, like this
Yeah.
needed to be
No,
all
I
over the
agree.
place, like for the last 6 to 8 months.
And
Yeah.
now the three of us don't have cable TV. So maybe somebody out there can, on Discord or whatever, speak out. Have you been seeing Strange World commercials on
Oh,
the
that's
TV?
a great point. I didn't even think
Because
about that.
I didn't think about that. Yeah,
None of us,
same.
no commercials, all cuts the cord, as they say. So is there just a bunch of stuff on Disney Channel and all this stuff that we're not seeing? Granted, like I have Hulu with ads, but I haven't watched Hulu in a while, so that doesn't really speak much to it. Oh no, we don't have ads because I was watching I Love Lucy without ads. Never mind. Anyway, I was watching I Love Lucy. But that's another platform that we don't partake in that these ads might be happening in. So maybe somebody out there can speak to the cable TV advertising. Let us know on Discord, and we can talk about it after we see the movie or something. If oh yeah, we saw 8 billion commercials, and Jake Gyllenhaal's been all over our TV. Like, we can't get rid of him.
Okay, you want to laugh at this?
Yeah.
I had to Google. And check this out. There's actually a TV spot, and it's been running.
there
It's
is.
been uploaded on YouTube about a month ago.
Okay. All right. Well, that
So
gives
that's
me
really,
that
yeah.
gives me a little bit of hope.
But here's the thing, though.
But it feels like a
if we're
failure
not
for
seeing 'em,
advertising
though,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, if we're
Yeah.
not seeing it, and I watch so much stuff. Like, I watch a lot of, I'm on Instagram all the time, and I watch all the other different things with ads, and I've not, now I'm going to open my phone because we said Strange World 8 billion times today, and there's going to be an ad right when I open it up
Here's the
because it's
flood.
always listening. But yeah, it's if those things are happening, then they're putting their money somewhere, but it's not getting to, the kids these days on the TikTok and the Instagram and whatnot,
Yeah.
the Google machine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have TikTok, so I don't know if they're TikTok ads. I don't know. Like, I'll throw my hands up in the air. But there's a lot of stuff I don't know. But they got to be spending some money. But it's still weird. Like when you saw Wakanda Forever, that there wasn't an ad for Strange World, like a Disney property not having another Disney property ad in front of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Again, this is just me theorizing because I don't know a lot of things. Do different movie theaters show different ads before movies, or is it the same ad package attached to the
question.
movie?
Yeah.
I want to say that they all show the same types. So if you're watching a Marvel film, you're probably going to watch the trailers and ads for other superhero films. Like anything that either Disney's releasing or planning or DC or whatever, because it's the right audience for it.
Or other PG-13 movies or whatever.
Because it's the same audience that you're catering to. But that's a good question. I wonder if it depends on the market.
I'm sure maybe Disney has a stake in AMC, so is all the AMC theaters show all more Disney trailers than Cinemark or Regal or whatever. I don't know because I don't go to different movie theaters. I go to the same one every time.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see if they really ramp up. But you're totally right about the ad space. And if people that cut the cord aren't seeing these things advertised, then obviously we're not going to know about it, right? It's a word of mouth thing at that point. And maybe that's what they're banking on. Maybe they're banking on people posting about it on Twitter or TikTok or Instagram. But it's not, if you don't get enough seats out in the world to even watch it to begin with, how are you going to build a buzz around it?
Yep, that's it.
So promote animation more. Don't forget about animation. Animation is what made your company.
Yeah, well, and Bob Chapek did come out and say, he said, well, we should probably listen to our audience or whatever. There was some weird quote where he said, pulled out of a whole interview. It's we as an audience do have to speak with our pocketbooks. That's kind of what they're listening to at the moment.
Right.
I mean, they're always listening to it, but if you want animation to continue, you gotta go see it. I mean, even if it's on Disney Plus, you gotta be watching it. You gotta, and people are. I'm not saying that people aren't. It's just that that quote was bubbling all over the internet recently. It was in this whole big old long interview, I think, with MSNBC or who knows, some magazine or news, I don't know. But it was pulled out of a whole thing where he's like, well, we should probably listen to our audience. And yeah, maybe you should. Maybe you should listen to that Everybody Hates Genie Plus. And
Everybody hates Genie.
Let's bring this back.
Reboots.
Let's bring this back to the parks.
Genie Plus is not
the cream
of the crop. It's not.
Ooh, yeah, it's bad.
Genie Plus is not the cream of the crop. Hey, so we will take it to the parks in just a moment. But before we do, I do want to remind you that this episode of Podketeers is brought to you by an awesome group of listeners known as the FGP Squad.
They're the cream of the crop
podcast,
for sure.
Fairy Godparents, because it is their support via Patreon that help make these episodes of Podketeers possible. Yes, they are, Andrew. You are correct. If you want more information on how you can be a part of the FGP Squad family, head on over to podketeers.com/FGP for more info. There you will find a list of some of our top contributors, a link to our Patreon, some information about the FGP Squad. And, of course, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us either through an instant message on our social networks like Instagram. But, honestly, we would love for you to join the community over on Discord. Joining is super simple. You can head over to podketeers.com/links. You'll find a link to our Discord there, along with a link to the FGP Squad page, so you can check out more information about that. Being a part of the FGP Squad family does get you some additional perks, like access to our happy hour calls, access to additional content on Patreon, extended episodes, talks about films, random giveaways, discount codes for new Podketeers gear, and more. And a special section on our Discord server, and more. So, yeah, again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to answer any questions. But to all of the members of the FGP Squad family, we just want to send a huge thank you for your continued support.
Okay, now we're going to spin the wheel. We're spinning the wheel. Flap, 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 flap. It's making a new sound today. It goes plap instead of flap, I guess. Plap, 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 plap. And the cream of the crop today is Latasha. Thank you, Latasha. Ooh, yeah, Latasha, the cream of the crop.
Nice.
Ooh, yeah, thanks for being an FGP. See, I got something new to say today because we started it early. I don't just have to say cool cats and kittens and cool and cool.
But now you have to say that as Macho Man.
Ooh, yeah, you're so cool, all you cool cats and kittens, Latasha. Ooh, yeah, thank you for being one of our FGP members and the cream of the crop. And I'm holding a little creamer. That's you. You're the cream. You rise to the top. Ooh, yeah, thank you from Macho Man and all the FGP. And thank you from the Podketeers. Oh, yeah, brother. Well, that's Hulk Hogan. I don't know.
That's right, brother. Macho Man Randy
It
Savage. Back to you at ringside.
I gotta work on that. That tickles my throat a little too much to do very often. But thank you, Latasha.
All right, so you mentioned it. Back in the parks, a couple of things that I wanted to bring up that are pretty exciting. One, we talked about the magic bands and not being able to detach them from the band itself, like the little puck like you could on the version 2 of the magic band.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you were going to purchase one and you were going to take it apart and you were going to, try to figure out how to mount it on something. And I was talking about, this is a great time for me to have a 3D printer because we could come up with something to hold it and everything. Well, somebody did it.
What?
I saw a video on TikTok of somebody that basically took one of the new Magic Band Pluses apart and they 3D printed an attachment where they slid the remaining piece of the puck into this piece that they created. And this little plastic attachment just slid into their watch. So it basically looked like their watch had 2 watch heads. Like they had like an an Apple Watch.
Apple Watch.
And so they slid this little piece into one of the bands. And so it looked like they had the Apple Watch, and right behind it they had the Magic Band puck attached onto the band. So they basically, it's a great idea. I guess great minds think alike at this point. Or they heard our episode and thought, that's super great, we should try to do this. So if we gave you the idea, congratulations, run with it. It's a great idea.
Good job.
Yeah, good job.
You're welcome.
It just totally just solidifies the fact that I need a 3D printer in my life to do stuff. And if there's any sales Black Friday or Cyber Monday, I think I'm going to have to really strongly consider it at this point because I feel like we're leaving money on the table.
I was going to buy my niece a 3D printer for Christmas. Maybe I'll just buy another one for Heyzen.
Yes.
It was like $150 my first 3D printer. It's better than no 3D printer.
That's
I don't know.
That's true.
It'll take lots and lots and lots of parts to make your Iron Man suit, but you know what? Start small.
That's true.
Yeah.
You start off with Magic Band Plus attachments, and you move your way up from there.
You could print it on this thing. That's for sure. It's big enough for that.
I should start clearing up some space here. So back to the parks. I'm pretty excited about this. Did you see the Adventureland treehouse finally has a reveal about what's coming?
Yeah.
Sure did.
All right.
I like this news.
Yeah. So either one of you, do you want to talk a little bit about what was revealed for what's coming?
Sure. It actually gives us a little bit of a throwback to the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse, which is really cool. But it's not like we had thought it would be the Encanto kind of tree. It's really, really neat. And we see a really cool flag that is hanging in one of the little areas. And that is the SEA flag.
Yay, yay.
It's so cool. They have concept art of Mother's Music Den or music room. Is it music room or music den?
I think it's
Whichever way.
music room, yeah.
So they have like a room, and this one looks like, let's say, where I want to say where Tarzan and the projection room, maybe, if we were to imagine that. So you have these instruments, and they look really, really cool. It looks like it's themed to the time of the SEA. So let's say the 20s, 30s. It has that look, that feel, and it's pretty exciting because we went from very little SEA representation or inklings in the park to like, boom, let's just change this whole tree. Let's just make it that staple in the middle of Adventureland, and it's going to look really cool. Man, I'm really excited for anyone who's going to see this anytime soon, because I can't imagine just walking up into Adventureland and seeing this, or even being in the queue for Indy and seeing it. The sounds, it's exciting. It's really cool. So, yay, Disney, for bringing us, more SEA and more love. And I love it. I'm excited for it to see, like, when it's unveiled, when it comes around. So, and date, 2023. So
Next
that's pretty
year.
cool.
I think it's pretty early 2023 too, I think they said. But it's really interesting. It's a cool update. The wording is interesting to me. It's called the Adventureland Treehouse, very original name. Full name actually, Adventureland Treehouse, inspired by the Swiss Family Robinson, is the full title. So it's not the Swiss Family Treehouse like you used to be there, or one that's in Walt Disney World, yada yada yada. It's kind of like a mishmash of ideas from other things. So I don't know of another ride that is just inspired by, at least in the wording, inspired by something, as opposed to just like Snow White's ride isn't Snow White's enchanted whatever wish inspired by Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs or whatever. So it's not Dumbo the Flying Elephant inspired by Walt Disney Pictures Dumbo.
It's gonna be dubbed Adventureland Treehouse. That's it.
Yeah,
like Star Wars Land. It's gonna be dubbed that.
It's like the Tiki Room, right? Nobody calls it Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. It's just the Tiki Room.
Right.
Well, except for me, but I'm the outlier here. But the other cool thing that I think is nice about this is they're really beefing up the base of the tree with more accessible, like more things for people that can't climb stairs. There's a lot of people that can't climb stairs for one way or another, one reason or another. And so the whole base of the tree is going to have lots of interactive parts and things to see that are all accessible to everyone. And then also, I think it's like the portrait studio or something is down at the base, and there will be like quote unquote photos of all of the rooms that are in the treehouse, so you can at least see what's going on up in there if you're not one to climb stairs. So it's a good, thing that they're kind of building out that base of the tree to accommodate more people, or even just for people like me who don't like to climb stairs.
After a humid day.
Yeah. But the last cool thing is that water wheel's coming back. Used to have a water wheel when it started. They not there. Tarzan, boom, water wheel's back. So that's another cool, fun thing, movement and things coming back to Adventureland. So it's, with the SEA tie-in is great. Who knows? Concept art's not going to show everything, so it'd be interesting to see any more of these details within. If we're going to get a new character, is it, the characters we know are just mom and dad, I think, or mom and pop or whatever their names are. It's not like anything specific. but it's very cool to see new life brought to this treehouse, and it's not really attached to any IP other than something that was already there, but only vaguely. So it's kind of a step in a direction that we've been talking about, that we like, the original concept, original story from the Imagineers, as opposed to just shoving a movie IP in there. Now, granted, inspired by blah, blah, blah. But it's kind of, sort of a step in that direction,
Yeah.
which we haven't had in quite a long time.
Right. Yeah, when we first started talking about the remake or kind of redoing this area and making it Encanto themed, I have to admit I was kind of excited about the idea. But with how narrow that walkway is, I remember you made the argument, Andrew, about how difficult it would be if, they had, like a door opening or, tree lighting up ceremony or whatever the case was to like bring some life in, like projections
and turn
everything.
the back of the building to Casita. Yeah, you said all kinds of
there was all sorts of ideas that just kind of ran through my head. But you're right, with how narrow that area is, there was no way they were going to be able to pull any of that off. So the fact that they've taken a step back and they've made it, inspired by the Swiss Family Robinson is cool. I remember that they had talked about remaking the Swiss Family Robinson for Disney Plus a couple of years ago, and I don't know if that's still going to happen with this tree getting that treatment. It's quite possible that they're going to go through with it, especially if you're keeping the name Swiss Family Robinson in people's in their minds fresh again. Because if it was Tarzan's treehouse for so long, Swiss Family Robinson, unless you knew about it before, then you had no connection to it. But now the fact that it's inspired by could quite possibly mean that it's getting the Disney Plus show. The SEA flag on there, I think, is what made it most exciting for me. You said that they've only mentioned a couple of members of the family. It's obviously not the Swiss Family Robinson that's going to be living in this one. But it's funny because when we did the SEA episode, we primarily talked about a lot of the main players that we know about in the SEA. We talked about some of the major characters that are where attractions are based from, the lineage of where they are and stuff like that. But the Swiss Family Robinson appears in a couple of different places as part of the SEA lore. In the Skipper Canteen, the Swiss Family Robinson book is one of the most prominent books in the library that they have. So it's one of the real books that you see as part of what's there. And then on top of that, at Trader Sam's here in California, I think there's some promotional materials for the bar that talk about the Swiss Family Robinson being affiliates of Trader Sam's. So there is a connection for the Swiss Family Robinson to SCA members or to things that are connected to the SCA. So if the Jungle Cruise has Alberta Falls, and then you see all of the oars and everything over at I'm blanking on the name. Behind the Tiki Room.
Tropical Hideaway.
The Tropical Hideaway, right? So there's all those SCA references. It only makes sense that on the opposite side, you would somehow make a connection to the SCA as part of Adventureland. Indiana Jones, we already know, is connected to the SCA story. It's basically all SCA now, connected in one way or another. Maybe not directly, but it has references all across the board now. I think I like this more than anything that we talked about or any of the other rumors that were going around. I wasn't expecting this, but I think this was a really great thing. Plus, remember when they did those jujus?
Yeah.
Remember the Adventureland juju had the Swiss Family treehouse?
I love the jujus.
Yeah, it had the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse on the juju for Adventureland. So obviously it
Yeah.
has a really deep connection there. So this is great. I love what they're doing with this one. I'm pretty happy. I'm gonna love to see this once it's finally open.
Yeah, and so just to answer your question, yes, as of now, there's going to be a Swiss Family Robinson TV, a series on Disney Plus.
Oh, it's not a movie.
According to, it's a series, a modernized like tale of it. You know, I'm thinking Lost. I don't know. Is it Lost but
Ew.
Swiss Family Robinson? I don't know. There's a tree and then there's a smoke monster and I don't know. But there's no other details. There's no casting or anything. But it has been announced. It was announced last year, I believe, at the investor call. There's not been anything since then, but as of now, it's still on the docket.
Every how many minutes they're gonna have to go in and enter 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42.
Yeah, in the
And then they win the
it'll
lottery.
be a newer old computer at this point, because
every
we're so far
107
removed from
minutes was
Lost.
it?
I think
don't
so.
remember. I never
Okay.
finished Lost. I didn't watch it when it was on, and then so my wife was like, "Yeah, you haven't seen Lost," so we started watching Lost, and then we got like into other things, and so granted, I think it's the last 2 seasons where they're like it went downhill from there kind of thing, but I think that's where I am with Lost.
Interesting.
It's still in the Hulu or wherever we were watching it. We know where we left off.
The stations. You know how each station had like the hexagon lines, and then it had like the Swan Station and all that
Okay,
stuff.
yeah.
Like all the Dharma Initiative stuff. When Lost was on, I had created a design for a T-shirt at the time that looked like one of the Dharma logos with the Podketeers symbol right in the center.
Nice.
And we never released the shirt. It never, like, I forgot what happened, but I never released it. Like, it was
Sounds
never
like a
designed
sticker
went
to
out.
me.
Sticker. Yeah.
Should I make a sticker out of it?
There's
Sounds like a
There's a-
sticker to me.
All
there's
right.
a couple
I don't know
of
how many.
Losties out there.
I
So
don't know
yeah.
how many Lost fans are out there, so I'll put it out into the world. If you're a Lost fan and you want this Podketeers Dharma Initiative, Podketeer Station Dharma Initiative inspired sticker, let me know. We'll make one, and that's what we'll send out for the month this time around. Last month we had a couple of Halloween themed stickers. I had something else planned for this month, but if you're a Lost fan and you want to see that sticker make a comeback, which never saw the light of day, let us know. We'll make it. We'll send them out to you. I think it's a fun sticker. So cool. Hey, since we're in Adventureland,
That's cool.
I think we're gonna want to post this on the Discord, Mel. But that chalk art that you sent of Indy, super cool.
Yeah, I think the canvas is maybe 10 feet by
It's
10
tall,
feet.
yeah.
It is super tall, and this person, she just like goes at it with the chalk, and it looks perfectly. It's like the poster came to life, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. That is amazing skills. And of course you have to put it with Raiders March, but the way that it came out was just fantastic. And I think it is, I think I did post it on Discord, but I don't recall, I don't remember if I just posted. I was tired this weekend, but I tried to post some stuff. We'll post it again, though. No biggie.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it when you sent it in our text, but, I'm sorry I haven't been on Discord in a couple of days since I haven't been feeling all that great. But if it's on there, then awesome. If not, we'll definitely have to put it on there because it always amazes me when artists create these really large murals and these amazing large pieces of art because I used to draw a lot when I was a kid. And even then, I feel like I had a problem with perspective and getting depth right on the paper. I'm better at it when I work digitally, but hand drawn, I struggled with it a lot. And when you see the size of these murals at times, and they just look uncanny. You know, it's amazing what they're doing.
I just want to shout out the name of the YouTuber that did this. Tooting McFruity Poots is
Perfect.
the user on YouTube.
That is brilliant.
That is first
For
name
the
Tootie,
minivan.
last name McFruity Poots. That's the one for the minivan there, Tootie McFruity Poots.
That's so funny.
So if you want to look it up yourself, Tootie McFruity Poots, cream of the crop with that Indiana Jones. Ooh,
That's
yeah.
so funny.
Okay, somebody said it belongs in a museum. At least somebody did
Well, it's true. It looks really
in the
good.
comments.
Yeah.
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 It's like, from the video, it looks like it's this person, they just painted their wall in their house with chalk paint or something and is using it as a big canvas. It's the entire wall of like an apartment or house or something.
Well,
Pretty
that's
smart.
even more impressive.
Yeah, it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
That's even more impressive. Well, let's keep to some of the stuff that's happening in the parks here. We'll double check Discord. If it's not on there, we'll definitely put it back up. Because it's definitely worth watching. It's such a cool portrait that you have to see it. I love time lapses too. I love they look so cool. So keeping with the parks, we're gonna go to the opposite end of the park here. Let's talk about It's a Small World a little bit, because speaking of Discord, FGP Squad member Anitza had posted this article that I think it was on Reddit that she saw it. But It's a Small World added some cool new things to offer a little bit more representation. Mel, do you want to talk about what was added?
Yeah. So we see 2 new dolls, and they are in wheelchairs. And it is so wonderful to see something like this, because it's just, like you said, representation. So one is in the main, I guess you want to say the last room.
The finale.
The finale. Thank you. And then the other one, I can't make out where that one is.
It's in the Mexico area.
Is it?
Yeah. Latin America.
Shame on me.
area.
I should have known. But yeah, they have wheelchairs, and it's really great to see. I mean, maybe a little overdue, but hey, thanks for adding this. Thanks for doing this. I know kids who see this, they're going to be like, that is cool, because hey, that's them, and that could be them as a doll. So thank you, Anita, for sharing this, because this was really, really cool. Kudos, Disney.
Yeah, this was a great addition. I'm not exactly sure how far in advance this thing was planned, but last week we didn't get a chance to talk about it, and we'll probably save this for an episode where we can do a much more thoughtful and longer segment on. But Alice Davis recently passed away, and Alice Davis was a major part of It's a Small World, because she had worked on the clothing for all these children that were going to be represented from around the world. Alice Davis known for a lot of the costumes that she made around the park, and it made me think of something that I had read once about Alice, where she was talking about It's a Small World specifically. And she was talking about how much joy, I think it's easy to speak ill of It's a Small World at times. I think people make it almost a sport to speak ill of It's a Small World because of its simplicity and because the song, right? Everybody's like, it's the song that drives you crazy. But when you take a step back and you see what It's a Small World represents, I think we could all take a really good lesson from It's a Small World. And Alice was talking about one of the things that just brought her happiness and made her smile about it, and it's that finale. One of the places that they added one of the dolls with the wheelchairs. because It's a Small World, the finale's meant to represent, she was talking about how it's meant to represent no country in particular. You know, they're all dressed in white to represent purity because, you know, when you're children, you're pure, you haven't been loaded with hate, you don't know the world the way that adults know the world. You know, so there's no bad words. There's, you know, they're dressed with gold accents because gold is something precious the way that children are. Silver is kind of a little bit of both, you know, it's precious and it's kind of pure. And obviously all the kids just full of life and bringing joy and happiness and singing together. And I just thought it was a really nice way to accent the fact that they added these characters with the wheelchairs, you know, on the heels of Alice passing away. So, so yeah, you know, to Alice's family and friends, obviously we want to send our heartfelt condolences. You know, Alice was a very special person. For a lot of us that had an opportunity to meet her and speak with her, I think it was something special that we're always going to cherish. But we'll celebrate Alice in a future episode with a much longer segment, and we'll talk about her life and her career and everything. But yeah, this was a really great addition to It's a Small World. And like you said, that representation, we keep talking about it. And as much as some people complain about it, the people that see themselves in these characters and in these instances throughout the park, you know, Disney's for everybody. I think sometimes people forget that. That, you know, you may not see yourself in that character. You may not see yourself in what's being represented, but someone does. I've always talked about how when we're doing the podcast that if we could bring a smile to one person's face, then we did our job, you know, and I'm sure that there's people within the Disney company that feel the same thing. And these characters, these things that they add to attractions, if they can bring happiness to one person, they did their job, because Disney's for everyone. And there shouldn't be so many damn gatekeepers that think it's only for them. Anyway, great job, Disney. That's a fantastic addition. And, you know, we look forward to seeing more of that stuff being added to the parks.
Yeah, I think I did see. I've been trying to search for this article that I read, but you had asked about how long it's been in development, and I remember reading somewhere that it was like 18 months from concept to installing it. There's something with Kim Irvine's, you know, kind of been the lead on a lot of these new projects, enhancing things, and I believe that's what I read. I've been trying to find where I read that, but it was an interview with Kim Irvine. I believe it was 18 months. And so this is also the 25th anniversary of It's a Small World holiday. And so they did something special for 25. You'll see 25s around the attraction, and then including these new dolls. I think you guys said enough about it, how fantastic this edition is. So I'm not going to get long-winded about it, but I agree with all your sentiments.
Yeah, Kim Irvine also is working on the Adventureland tree, right? The treehouse.
I believe so, and I did misquote the title of the attraction. It's actually longer than
oh jeez.
It's Adventureland Treehouse, inspired by Walt Disney's Swiss Family Robinson.
Oh,
so,
that is
I forgot
mouthful.
Walt Disney in there, so it's a very, very long title. At least it's I don't know.
I'm with Mel. Adventureland Treehouse.
I don't even.
Yep.
It's fair. Yes, Adventureland Treehouse is fine.
All right. Well, since we didn't get Antonio's tree in Adventureland, I did have a little bit of Encanto this weekend, because if you remember, we had talked about how Encanto was going to be at the Hollywood Bowl. My wife surprised us all with tickets to go watch Encanto at the Hollywood Bowl this week.
Nice.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so we had an opportunity to go. Remember how we mentioned that this was going to be a show that was going to be out in December on Disney Plus? Well, the day that we were there was the day that they were filming. Now,
very cool.
It did look fairly sold out, and we were pretty high up, but we were like center stage, pretty much at the very top of the Hollywood Bowl. But either way, they had the screens and you could kind of see everything that was going on. But it was nice because they built Casita around the bowl. There was like an outline of Casita that was around the general like stage area. And throughout the night, they would light it up with different effects that were symbolic to the scene that everything was happening in. And so before the show started, they talked about wanting everyone to download this app, this Apix app. And I'm not big on downloading these apps for shows and everything because I don't want to have to give more of my data to yet another thing, right? But
Right.
there was a big reason why they wanted everyone to download this app. So I'll talk about that in a little bit, but but they kept really pushing it. The guy that was out there, every show, every concert usually has like an opener. They have somebody trying to warm up the crowd, get everybody psyched up. And the guy was earning his money, man. It was cold as heck. Like we were pretty bundled up. Like we had jackets and long sleeve shirts and thermals and gloves and scarves and hats on and everything. And it was still cold. Like for California, it was lower 40s, I want to say, by the time that the show started. If you're not familiar with these shows at the Hollywood Bowl, we've talked a little bit about like Nightmare Before Christmas, which is one of the most popular ones that they do there yearly or, frequently. What they do is that they play the film on screens, and whenever there's like a musical part, they have somebody live on stage singing the song as part of the show. So they'll play some scenes in the background. They'll change the lighting. They'll do a little bit of projection stuff to kind of help, the ambiance of it. But they'll have somebody live playing or singing the song, and then they'll have like an orchestra playing the music for that, which is what they had. So they start playing the film, they get to the first song, and this is where you really start noticing Casita light up in the background, right? You see the flowers and you see everything going on, and the first song that they really highlight is the Familia Madrigal song that Mirabel sings at the beginning. And they did have the cast members come out and sing, as their characters. And I just want to commend the cast for coming out and singing, because I'm assuming that this is going to be fixed by the time it's on Disney Plus, because auto-tuning is a thing. And I think a lot of these people did a really fantastic job in recording their parts for the film. But when you are singing in cold weather, it is not the easiest thing to do. Like your throat begins to seize up, and if you're not drinking something warm and if you're straining it, it can really not sound great. And they just, they did such a great job for the situation that they were in. Now, we were far enough that I don't know if they had like warmers or like, heat being projected onto the stage to help them with something like this, but it was cold. And you could tell in some places that they were struggling. So bravo to the cast for pushing through that and getting through it. I'm sure that if they can't fix it, that they're going to go back and they're going to do some ADR to fix it. But overall, it was a really fun show. By the time, so back to the app thing. So they keep pushing this app. You see the screens on the side as the movie's progressing. They're showing the barcode, scan this QR code to download this app. And a lot of people couldn't scan the barcode because the screens had a tiny little QR code, and if you couldn't zoom in far enough, your phone wasn't picking it up. And so some people had trouble doing it. But the very first song that the app became a thing for was We Don't Talk About Bruno. And they told us that at the beginning. They said, look, we're filming this for Disney Plus. We're going to need your help. We're going to need you to download this app. And when the song comes on, point your screens forward. don't look at your screen. We know you're going to want to look at your screen, but point your screens forward. You're going to see your flashlight blinking in your face, and that might be annoying, but trust us. We just need you to do this. So we get through the show. We don't talk about Bruno's coming up, and they remind us to get our phones ready and stuff. So you take out the phone, and for the people that were obviously closer to the stage, all those people could look back, and there was pieces of green, the prediction,
The crystal?
The crystal,
Oh,
the
yeah.
prediction crystal that was in the film that broke.
Mm-hmm.
For Bruno, there was a lot of that stuff going on. There was a lot of greens, and there was a lot of effects that had to do with the song. But if you look forward from where we were, obviously we were in the back, all you saw was blinking flashlights on the back of cell phones. So there was still a lot of light happening. And so they did that. Everything's green. You see the floating crystals, and I think what they did was there was portions of Casita. There was an arch over the bowl, obviously, but there was also a projection or an LED screen or something like that where they would project it looked like a swish of magic, basically, like pixie dust almost, floating there every so often. And what was projected there, I think, is what was on the phones. The crystal was a part of that. I'm not sure, obviously, because I couldn't look back and look at everybody else's phones, and I didn't look at mine either. I just kind of kept it, mainly because the main cameras that were filming the center stage were right behind us. That's how center we were. We could look back and we saw the camera, the main center stage camera, the spotlights, and the production team that was filming, right there. And then if we look forward, right in front of us at the bottom was the other team that was controlling the visuals on the stage, and they were controlling the video and all that other stuff. So they have their intermission. We come back from intermission, and they have, I forgot the name of the band. It's going to come to me after we're done recording, but they had the band
Roots.
perform some music. It was the Roots, yes. You nailed it. I'm going to try to remember, but they had the band play some music. It was fantastic. It was kind of soothing and calming, actually. It was a really great part of the show. They finish that music and they go back to the film. And so right before they started that, right before the music, they said, hey, by the way, we hope you're enjoying the show. We're going to need you to break out your phones one more time with the app during Dos Oruguitas. They continue singing. When Luisa did her song, the place went crazy. There was several places where everybody just kind of lost it during the performance. Obviously, when Mirabel sang her song at the beginning for the Familia Madrigal, when Isabela sang her piece and she sang her song, people went crazy during that segment. And when Luisa sang her song is also when everybody just went super crazy for everything. We heard a lot of people singing for We Don't Talk About Bruno. When they finally got to Dos Oruguitas, they reminded us again, they flashed up, get your phones out and everything. Again, from our point of view, it just looked like a bunch of flashlights on the back of the phone that were flashing. But what I imagine was happening, again, if I'm correct in saying that what they were projecting on the arch over the bowl was what was on the screens. It was a bunch of butterflies, and it was a bunch of magic, orbs and stuff kind of floating around. So essentially what it looked like everyone in the audience was a bunch of butterflies that were just illuminating the bowl.
Oh, wow.
And so from our point of view, we couldn't see that, but I'm sure we're going to see it when we watch it on Disney Plus, and that's going to be kind of exciting to watch. Being a part of that experience was super cool. I don't think they did that with the other presentations of the show. I think that was special for the recording of the Disney Plus show. It was so funny because they were talking about they told us, if you're here and you're going to post to social media, if you have any videos or photos, make sure that you're using, this hashtag. I think it was like Encanto at the bowl or something. And then right after they would say, but just don't post any of the performance or any of the things that are happening because we want it to be a surprise. But if you post it, use this hashtag. Like, but you just said not to, and now you're encouraging using a hashtag for it. Like, so they kept like flip-flopping on it, which I thought was kind of funny. So they got through the song. They brought out the artist that sings it, and they brought out like a children's choir to sing along with him, which I thought it was so cool to listen to that song that way. That song finishes. They finish the film. They do like the reprise of the Familia Madrigal, at the end, and they're rebuilding Casita, and everything lights up. The animations and the projections that they had on the bowl and everything looks super cool. Like towards the end, as they're doing their final number, they're bringing out all of the performers. They're all bowing. They're kind of introducing all of the characters and stuff. And then they're doing this big dance number, continuing the song. They're like, all right, so we did that. Now let's do it again. And then they sing everything again. And then there's this huge fireworks show. They just treated everyone to this like super cool fireworks show, along with the music, which I thought was a great way to cap off. I don't know if the fireworks were a part of the shows every night, but it was a really great way to cap off this performance. So overall, it was a super fun show. I was surprised to get an opportunity to go, and I'm happy that we did. I'm not sure if that's where I ended up starting to get sick or not, but it was fun. And I can't wait to watch it on Disney Plus because I feel like being a part of the audience and participating, like seeing the other side of it is what I'm most excited about. Like seeing all the production, because I would see the preview screens that they had and how they were filming everything on stage. I remember mentioning last week that I'm curious to see what they're going to cut out and what's going to be a part of the actual performance. So that's pretty much everything I remember happening during the performance. But once they play it on Disney Plus, we'll talk about it one more time, and I'll tell you how different it was from what we ended up watching and what ended up on Disney Plus. But yeah, again, I just want to commend all of the performers, especially any that had to sing that day, because the summers at the Hollywood Bowl are great, right? Because the evenings are just really nice. They're not super hot at times. It's like right on a hillside, which kind of protects you from a little bit of the heat. And in the evenings, it's just nicer. You don't have the sun blaring, but it's great conditions to be at the Hollywood Bowl. But this time, any singers, if they don't have any heat on stage, they earned whatever ovation they got that day, because it was rough. But I enjoyed it. It was fantastic.
That sounds really cool. I've looked up there are a few videos of it on YouTube and such. So I'm able to. I'm not trying to spoil it, but the set design is definitely very cool. Like, I know the other productions. This is a bigger production value because it's going on Disney Plus. But I mean, they went all out. They built a whole set on there. They got video screens. Video on the floor. Video. For the doors. On stage and on the sides of the stage, stuff is built. The projections, everything is real top notch. So it's a very detailed set, full staircases, full Broadway scenery, movements. The stair comes on at some point, goes away. There's lots of movement, and it looks very cool. So I'm excited to see this on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you got to go because at least one of us got to go. Right?
Yeah. They did have some stuff in the aisles as well. They had like a big rat. No, they had like a big rat dancing in the aisles during Bruno's segment, and
well, I saw there was like a big Bruno puppet at one point.
Oh,
too.
Maybe that's what it was.
There was like a big go over like a big hedge or something. There's like a big old puppet.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm kind of like scrubbing through, and I happened to catch this big old. Oh, maybe it is in the audience. It's like a big Bruno puppet.
Yeah,
like
I thought
huge.
It was like a big rat. At least from where we were, it looked like a big rat. But I guess it was a Bruno puppet.
There are a bunch of rat-like shadows I'm seeing, but yeah, it looks like this big. It's huge. It's like 12 feet tall or something. It's just like his shoulders and head. So yeah, this looks real cool. The fireworks look fantastic. It's an all-out production. So who knows? Maybe this gives it some viability for more stage performances elsewhere. Yeah.
I haven't even seen the final version of it, and I'm already excited about it. I think it was a great show. To be a part of it and to watch it. I think there's going to be a lot of people really excited to see this. So, yeah.
Do these instead of the live-action remake.
Yes.
Just this.
Yes, 100%.
Same cast. We'll do them all for all the old ones. Well, at least the ones that people are still alive.
Anything with music.
Yes.
Anything with music. Do it for these, yeah.
Yeah, just this, yeah. But you've got 50 movies to do, basically.
This is a great...
Chicken Little at the Hollywood Bowl.
This is a great way to celebrate 100 years of the Disney Company. Chicken Little at the Hollywood Bowl.
Chicken Little at the Hollywood Bowl.
Atlantis at the Hollywood Bowl.
Hey, that would be pretty
Treasure
cool.
Planet
That would
at
be
the Hollywood
fun.
Bowl.
Hey, you got to start saying the bad ones. Home on the Range
No,
at the
but I just
Hollywood
want to
Bowl.
skip to those. There are no bad Disney movies. They're just
Bolt
misunderstood.
at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh,
Hey,
wow.
Bolt wasn't that bad.
That was fine.
It was fine, yeah.
John Travolta and Miley
There's
Cyrus.
no bad Disney movies. They're just misunderstood.
I mean, sure.
All right, I think
I was trying to pull something out of the air, but I don't got one that I could pull as a joke off the top of my head. I was gonna say, have you seen? But then I can't
because
get
there
anything.
are no bad movies. They're just misunderstood. That's why.
Yeah, but there's got to be one, right?
No. Cars 2. Anyway, I think that's a really great place to end the episode. If you have any comments or questions, obviously, about anything that we talked about, we'd love to hear your thoughts on some of the things coming to the parks. FGP Squad, let me know if you guys want that sticker, the Lost Dharma Initiative style. I think I have a sample of it that I can post on Discord. But if you're familiar with the Dharma Station emblems, it was basically just all the hexagon lines with the Podketeers logo in it. Let me know if you want that. I'll be happy to make those stickers and send them out to everyone this month. And yeah, that's it. Any final thoughts on anything that we talked about today?
Cream of the crop.
That's right, the cream of the crop. Ooh, yeah. Encanto at the Hollywood Bowl was the cream of the crop. You're going to want to watch it on Disney Plus. That's right. Disney Plus might not be doing well, but this is going to bring it back, brother, because it's the cream of the crop.
Oh, and I think there's a Quizneyland this week.
Oh, and there's a Quizneyland this week. Fantastic.
I don't know what it's going to be about because I haven't wrote it yet. So,
but we got Quizneyland.
So there will be an episode. I've been busy, and I'm going to Disneyland this weekend. So there will be an episode. I promise.
Yay.
There will be one.
Awesome. All right. That is going to wrap it up. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep moving forward, and always remember to pass on the magic. Have a fantastic week, everyone.
Bye.
See ya. Oh, yeah.
part of the Podketeers network.